Have you ever felt frustrated with your dog's behavior and wondered why nothing you try seems to fully fix it or work? Maybe your dog is restless, reactive, overly excited, or just seems unable to settle, especially when life gets super busy or when the weather keeps everybody indoors. With Valentine's Day here, we often think about love as affection, attention, or spending time together. But when it comes to our dogs, one of our deepest ways that we can show our love is by learning how to understand them. Because often what we see as behavior problems are actually our dogs trying to communicate a need that is not being met. Today, I want to talk about what behavior really means from a dog's point of view. Most of the people I work with truly love their dogs. They're trying so hard, but they often come to me feeling very overwhelmed or discouraged because their dog is hyper or reactive and destructive, attention seeking, struggling to settle. And this tends to show up even more when life gets busy or when winter weather limits time outdoors. So naturally, people try and solve the problem by adding more exercise, adding more rules, and trying to control the behavior of their dog. But sometimes the behavior doesn't change because we're actually solving the wrong problem. Dogs are not trying to give us a hard time. Dogs are having a hard time. Behavior is one of the only ways that dogs can communicate with us. It's information. It tells us how they are coping with the world, with their emotions, and whether their needs are being met. When we look at behavior through a welfare lens, everything changes. Instead of asking, how do I stop this behavior? We begin asking, what might my dog need right now? So when I talk about total welfare, when we talk about welfare of a dog, we want to look at the whole dog, not just the isolated behaviors. There's a framework, a great framework of the 5 domains of animal welfare that really help us include and to understand this. This is including nutrition, physical environment, health and fitness, behavioral interactions of the dog, and which is how the dog interacts with people, how the dog interacts with the world, how the dog interacts with other animals and with the environment. And the mental state is the domain which really is shaped by the other 4. And the mental state is often what we are seeing when these behaviors show up. And if something in those domains is out of balance, that's where the behavior is often the change. So we get to use L.E.G.S, the L.E.G.S model, to really help us understand this even deeper. It helps investigate why the behavior is happening. The L stands for learning. What has the dog experienced? What has the dog learned by practicing, and what has it it's been reinforced, right? If it's jumping on the counter, if it got something tasty off the counter once, now we've got a problem. The dog has learned that good things can happen on there, and every time it's going to check and see maybe it'll get something because it's paid off, and it becomes practice behavior. Often things become a real challenge for owners, and here's the dog has learned to do this. The E stands for the environment. Has something changed in their surroundings or the routine? The weather can really, as we keep mentioning, when you're stuck indoors, it creates a big challenge to what's going on in the dog's welfare. And this is the part of the environment. And the stimulation levels, is everything inside? Is there lots happening more now that everybody's in together? Is it louder? Is it quieter? What's the difference for the dog here? What's changed in the environment? And the genetics are so important to consider. Dogs are born with such amazing natural instincts and drives, and these are not optional. It's not optional. This is in them. They need to do these behaviors that are in their genetics: chasing, running, digging, smelling, listening, watching. It's all part of their genetics, and it's part of who they are. It's not an option. And the self stands for The S stands for self, and every dog has their own personality, their own past, their own feelings about the environment and emotional sensitivities, and they have their own coping abilities, past trauma, and how it can affect this too, their feelings about things and experiences. So they don't forget things. They things, good things can be bad things can be reinforced. Other things, scary things, can be a reinforcement too. So that it can affect the self of the dog. So when we look at their behavior through the L.E.G.S lens, we usually find behaviors that make a lot of sense. This time of year is a perfect example of how difficult, right? This cold weather limits time outdoors. They can't explore, they can't move, just like we get feeling quite confined in the winter. I know I am, and I know my dogs are, because we've been stuck indoors. So we're not getting to get out there and to move and to explore and to walk. Busy schedules can reduce enrichment interaction time too, but our dogs' needs don't disappear just because circumstances changes. Sometimes dogs become more restless. They may become more anxious or overexcited because their mental state and emotional needs are not being met. So even if they're physically exercised, it can still happen. The tired dog is not always a fulfilled dog. There's still another need not being met. I have some great examples for one puppy that I've been working with recently. She puppy Poppy is a pup. The puppy's name is Poppy, and she's like many puppies. She's got a lot of energy and curiosity. And one of the struggles that her owner was facing is getting her to settle. She worked really hard to find activity and to keep her busy, but she didn't know how to help Poppy automatically calm herself. We have to help her. Honestly, most puppies don't know how to settle and to calm. Uh, so what we discovered, wasn't her misbehaving, is she was just overtired, overstimulated, and unsure how to regulate herself. Self-regulation. We have to help them learn these things. So we added enrichment that matched her needs, building predictable routines, and helping her learn calming skills gradually. She started learning how to settle, not because she was forced to be calm, but because her needs were being met and she felt safe enough to relax. And we helped her to learn how to relax and to be calm. It's very similar to helping children recognize when they are overtired, we need to learn how to recognize when they're overtired, so we can help them and guide them towards calming routines. Another experience that I love still constantly bringing up to do with behavior and not being what we understand, what you think a lot of times, and in fact that it's actually expressing a need, is Ginger. When she had dental surgery, it's a need not being met, right? She was in pain. Before she had the surgery, she was very less tolerant, not tolerant of the other dogs at all, showed signs like growling. And it would have we could have easily labeled that behavior as just attitude, right? Or, being bitchy. I think that it doesn't take much to say that when you have an older female dog, to maybe say something like that. But the reality was pain. So once her dental issues were resolved and treated, her behavior totally changed. This is not the first time I have seen this kind of things with my own dogs and with my clients' dogs. This is a powerful reminder that behavior often reflects something much deeper happening in dogs' welfare. And Hogan is my best story always to share. If you watch my videos, you see how much I've got videos of him just searching and going on things and checking things out, digging, running. He likes to move. He's always kind of like guarding. He has all these behaviors that are very important for him. This reminds us of how strongly genetics influence their behavior. When the dogs are allowed to perform these natural behaviors like smelling and searching and exploring, it supports their mental and emotional well-being in ways that structured exercise, like just going for a long walk or going for a run, can't do this. Can't do that. It's not what is going to fulfill all of their needs for many dogs. And I'm not saying don't take your dog for a walk or a run. I'm just saying consider the fact that that's very possibly not enough for many dogs. Um, so dogs experience frustration, excitement, stress, and fatigue just like we do. Emotional regulation is something they learn through safe, consistent experiences. Teaching calm is not forcing stillness. Calm develops when dogs feel safe, fulfilled, and understood. And it's a practiced routine. Just like my grandson, he was a great example. I thought about how many times before he wanted to could rest, and when you could tell, I knew he was overtired already. When he does finally, lay down, a lot of times he'll be flopping around for a bit, and then all of a sudden just be out. And I witnessed this puppy do the same thing. I had was taking care of her. I went to her home. I took her home. She went to a few places. She even whined in one of the locations, a few different beds. Great to have different spaces for the dog to choose to go lay down where they're comfortable. And I made sure I sat down and was comfortable and relaxed with her. And I talked to her a little bit about what she was doing. And then all of a sudden she just went to one spot and laid down and she was out. So similar to what my grandson did. So just being aware that we can help them. We can help them to be relaxed. We need to have our calming and influence on that too. So please, this is something that I love to work with clients with and love helping with learning how to understand, how to help a dog to calm down and to relax and to settle and have that quality time with them that provides too. So if you're wondering how to start looking at behavior differently, here's a few simple places to begin. Provide some enrichment that makes your dog's natural, that matches your dog's natural instincts. Sniffing games, food puzzles, and foraging activities can be incredibly fulfilling for a dog. Create predictable routines. Routines help dogs feel emotionally safe and reduces uncertainty. When this happens, they know this is going to happen. It can all be good and it can all be a predictable routine that your dogs will love. Dogs love routines. Allow decompression time. Walks that include exploration and sniffing often help dogs process the environment and emotions. So letting them do it slowly, allow them to decompress and self-regulate and adjust and to digest the environment. It's what they love doing it, and it can make a very great effect on their self and well-being when they're allowed to do that instead of just being rushed by the world. Give them opportunities to process it in the way that they need to. And the other huge thing that is very important is watching body language. Learn your dog's body language. Early stress signals are often very quiet and subtle. Catching them early can prevent bigger behavioral responses later. So as we celebrate Valentine's Day, it's a beautiful reminder that love is more than affection or activity. Love is understanding who our dogs truly are. When we take the time to understand their needs, their emotions, and their communication, we build trust. And trust builds safety. And safety is where real behavior change begins. I'd love you to take a moment and reflect. What might your dog be trying to tell you through their behavior? I'm thinking this kind of thing all the time. What's going on? What is that dog saying? What are my dogs saying? And dogs are always speaking to me. I'm always understanding or seeing things in their behavior. And I love helping other people understand their dogs. So if you want help to understand your dog on a much deeper level, please book a consult with me. The link is in the description. And if this episode helped you see your dog in a new way, please like, subscribe, and share. It helps me to continue sharing education that supports better lives for dogs and the people who love them. I want to keep dogs in their home. I want to help everybody live happy together and have a good life together. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you next time on A Dog's View.